but ultimately we have this really nifty mural, and you can jump in and start to ask yourself some of these questions around what kind of meetings do we have. So John, what do we have here on the board? What are some of the fun things that, I guess it's, do you create agendas?
I do, after I draft my purpose and then therefore my narrative. So what's the purpose? And then I choose a narrative, for example, open, explore, close, and then I make an agenda. So yes, I do.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Sweet. So what about 01, clear objectives?
Yes, I've learned over time that a quick way to have a non-magical meeting is to not do that. So definitely have clear objectives every time. Otherwise, I'm not facilitating.
Excellent. All right. We've got a N2, stick to the schedule.
So I'm going to say yes, but I just want to make sure people know that I stick to the schedule in terms of this is when we agreed to start and this is when we agreed to end.
That's a slippery slope, right?
It is. But, you have to shift things sometimes inside, meaning a sudden really important issue came up, and then my formally drafted activities, I may have to pivot on them, but still keep in mind when to end. And then also that's, we're human. Sometimes you go over, but in a workshop with a client, my goal is to make sure that we start on time, we end on time. Sometimes I have to shift the agenda based on some unknowns that present themselves.
What about, do you do the work in the meeting?
I am notorious for this. If we're not doing work in the meeting, you will not get an accept invite from John. Big fan of prototyping, so definitely a dot on that bingo card.
Yeah, it makes me chuckle because we just put an ad out across social media that says, "Are you in a meeting right now?" And so if you're on social media, you're not doing any work, and you're in a horrible meeting. So you should come learn how to have magical meetings with us.
Yeah.
Do you? Let's. How about N4? Establish clear roles within the meeting.
Yes, and that goes into prep. It's usually overlooked. Making sure that there are roles set and beforehand communicate that, but then also re-communicate that at the kickoff of the event. And sometimes you have to remind people, and a facilitator should not feel bad about being repetitive because I found participants are just looking for clarity, and rarely do you say it once and it's clear. Sometimes you have to say it a few times.
How about BU5, hold space for input?
Definitely. And literally hold space, like in Mural, we make placemats for each participant to contribute, but then also conversationally, absolutely.
In fact, in large virtual meetings, we talk about the Japanese words for space and how there's like 4 different types of space, and you can design and consider all these different kinds of spaces. Let's see, B4, address tension. I'm
getting better at this one. So we could put, I don't know if we can do a semicircle, but this is a topic that we're writing a lot about in our upcoming book, Magical Meetings. That is a very important art, and it takes practice, and it takes poetry and language and the power of questions. I, like the other ones, I'm much more skilled in because I've practiced that. Whereas I appreciate the philosophy of this one, but I'll be humble I'm in my early beginnings of being good at that one.
And how about I4, include solo work and group work?
Oh yes. So going back to do the work in the meeting, that's to me like a paired element of it. Just making sure this is the number one way for me to manage attention. So again, giving each person solo work so that they can express their genius, they can focus. And then if you do that well, people are excited to then show off what they made. And so that's why that oscillation between solo work and then group socialization is just fantastic for energetic management, but also just attention.
Excellent. I believe that makes bingo. We've got one of my favorite kinds of bingo, which is like right through the middle.
Oh, nice.
And you know, the center is a freebie for everyone. Like, it's not just because John works at Voltage Control that he got a pass on that one. But thanks for playing bingo with me today, John.
That was fun. I used to go with my grandmother when she babysat me growing up to bingo competitions, and this has a slightly deeper element of meaning because I have to sit here and contemplate. It's really awesome.
Yeah. A little kind of introspect kind of where we're at and assess how we can improve our meetings.
And you know, it's actually this is a real-time idea for those watching this. You do this with your team to analyze your meeting culture, but actually, if you're looking to identify people inside of your company, or let's say you're trying to hire an outside facilitator, this could be your like little secret weapon that you're hiding behind the screen to guide a conversation. Ask somebody, hey, how do you address tension in a room? You ask a facilitator that, they're gonna be like, oh wow, that's a real question there. And you could use it as sort of a recruitment mechanism. I just kind of thought about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, people are going to be a lot more honest if they don't know they're playing bingo. So you could just be using it in the background as an assessment tool, and then show it to the team to visualize what the discussion they just had. I think that could be pretty powerful as well. Anyway, thanks for listening. We went for a while here, but it's always fun chatting with John Fitch, and we always love talking about meetings. So thanks for listening.
Happy magical meetings.